the wing. And is that contact? It looked like there was some contact at the back there. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you very much for watching the video. This is the race 2 of Circuit Zolder, which is based in Belgium. If you remember from the 2 hot lap qualifying sessions and race 1, it's been a close fought match so far. Lantern has qualified for P2 in race 1 and P1 in race 2, which is easy for me to say. Anyway, we're going to move on to the action now, and it's going to be the roll and start as normal. Lantern in P1, and he's surrounded by Lamborghinis. Here we go, Lamborghini in P2, Lamborghini P3 and the Audi R8 in P4, all vying to get past Lantern. If you look directly behind Lantern, the Lamborghini is just all over his mirrors, all over his bumper, and they're off. It's a sprint down to this left hand bend. Who's going to be first? And Lamborghini tucks in behind Lantern. He's looking for a switch back there, but he's not got the power, but he is right out on the back splitter of this Mclaren, all over it. Keeping everything reasonably straight, nice and tidy. You can see a small gap already forming between Lantern and the first Lamborghini. Lamborghinis really have been all over the back end of either whoever's in P1 or P2. It's been quite a challenge to try and keep them at bay. Already a second of a gap between Lantern and P2 as he's trying to keep this tidy. Nice exit and sweeping left hand down to this hairpin. His foot down again, and nice short straight until the last of the S bends. So back onto the start finish straight. First lap complete. Already creating a bit of a gap. It's 1.1 second of a difference, and you can see the visible gap now, and you can also see offline there's a lot of rubber from the tyres. Everybody kind of settling into their stride. You find first few laps can be a little bit unsettled, everybody trying to vie for position, but once that position's kind of cemented, it's a case of either consolidating it or building to try and get further up the field. So a nice gap already showing. It's got almost 2 seconds for the first Lamborghini. Audi is struggling slightly. He's 4th place, split by the Lamborghinis. In fact, you can see in the background there's the 3rd Lamborghini putting pressure on the Audi driver. Again, just keeping it consistent. A little bit of wiggle is heavy under braking. And you just have to wonder if Lamborghini have got any team tactics involved in terms of overtakes, or is it going to be a free-for-all, because this could become quite interesting if the 2 Lamborghinis get close enough, they end up fighting. It's going to allow Lantern just to drive off into the distance. And bear in mind, this is the only Mclaren within this field. Consistency, that's going to be the key to this. Consistent, smooth, and stay focused. Remember from the first race that there was twice Lantern had issues. First was Villeneuve chicane, which is coming up to just now. He basically braked himself. No issues this time. And of course the final lap off the start finish straight, he spun. Luckily he had enough breathing space between himself and the Audi, but it certainly was not a comfortable final lap for him. The gap's slowly increasing. Again, you can see the third place Lamborghini is not far behind. And we'll be coming up to the mandatory pit window soon as well. 30 seconds stopped with engine off for the one set of mechanics to go around all four wheels and get them changed and get the driver away again. You can see, although the track looks smooth, there's a lot of small bumps and undulations. And hard on the brakes for Klein chicane. You can see he's not having to fight too hard with the car. The car looks settled. He's just having to correct small changes in the steering. Again, no issues this time. So I'm wondering whether he's becoming used to slightly off there, but it's not causing many issues. He's not gained any time either, so I can't see that Stewart will want to speak to him about that. But I wonder whether he's adjusting his driving to knowing that the grip level of the tyres is going to decrease and possibly rapidly fall off the cliff, as I talk about. But again, consolidating his time just now. And there's a little bit of a gap now between the second and third place. Anticipating maybe the next couple of laps, that he'll be coming into the pits. This is a corner he had an issue with previously as well. You can see the amount of rubber that's been laid down from race 1. Some flames kicking out the back of the Mclaren there as it protests. Slightly wide there. I'm wondering whether this is now when the tyres start to lose the value. Although we've seen in the last race that he continued an advantage every lap over the Audi R8, that he was able to get up to about 8 seconds of a gap. Here the Lamborghinis are not letting him at all. In fact, I would say the gap's actually decreased slightly there. Just over 2 seconds of a gap between Lantern and the P2. You can see, look at the amount of rubber that's on the track, just with the heavy braking. And here he comes as anticipated into the pits now. The Lamborghinis all coming in at the same time. Second place is. Going to look on the left here. Okay, so the third place is now, he's stayed out. 2 Lamborghinis hot in the tail of the McLaren. Now this is a long stretch. This is 30 miles per hour speed limit down the pit lane, and the Lantern's box right at the very end as well, which is advantageous for getting back out, but it just feels like eternity as you're travelling down here. So you'll see the car will jack up and the mechanics will start working on each wheel. Must feel like an eternity. Okay, so far no issues with the tyre changes, so as soon as the last one's on, it'll be a case that the car's back down its wheels and the ignition on and off he goes. And the Lamborghinis actually, both Lamborghinis have passed him. This now puts him into 3rd, 4th place situation, so he's now going to have to push this car as fast and hard as he can. Lamborghinis are not going to let him pass any way easy. You can see he's already looking at trying the overtake, and he's on the inside for the right hand. Is he going to make this stick? Yes, he is. Lamborghini's now looking immediately to come back at him, but he's quick round this corner, so he makes that one stick. He's now focuses on the Lamborghini ahead of him. Now, is this first place? Because the leaderboard takes so long to update, we don't know if this is 1st, 2nd and 3rd place we're looking at, or 2nd, 3rd and 4th. Whatever way Lantor's going to have to drive the wheels off this McLaren on the next few laps. I don't know if there's an issue with the mechanics or the pit stop or what it is, but it's slower than the rest. He had this in race 1 where he was undercut by Will Stevens from the Audi R8. He's now making a little bit of a gap between himself and the Lamborghini behind him, so he can now focus on. He's a bit wide there, and you can see the back end kicking. He cannot afford to lose time. He cannot afford to spin again. He knows where he's faster than his competitors, and he knows where he needs to consolidate. So I'm sure in his head he's hatching a plan. A wide turn into turn 1. In fact, the Lamborghini's just overtaken the Audi, has it? It appears to be, so this looks like Lantern is either 4th or 3rd, but certainly he has at least 2 cars ahead of him. He's now going to have to try and get past, and he goes for the outside. This is a drag race between the McLaren and the Audi. Who's going to come out on top with this is now going to be a braking competition, and Lantern makes it stick. Oh, and he's nearly lost it again. He's lost any advantage he had over the Audi there. He basically applied the pressure, the power just on top of the curb. The McLaren did not appreciate that at all, so now he's going to have to consolidate what he's done, hope the Audi holds up the next Lamborghini and or the previous Lamborghini, and he can concentrate on the one ahead. So the leaderboard is now updated. He's now 3rd. He has 2 Lamborghinis ahead of him. This is not going to be an easy race for him. As you can see how far the leader is ahead of him, and he's only got a handful of laps left, so this is really going to be a close fought match. Bearing in mind, if I believe, the 2 Lamborghinis in front of him pitted about the same time, so all tyres will be roughly about the same in terms of wear and heat, etc. You can see he's pushing this car as hard as he can within the realms of possibility and without making a mistake. So here he is, he's closing the gap on the Lamborghini. Is he going to go for the overtake here? No, it's too much of a gap. He is going to try and close up from the Klein exit for the chicane. Again, the Lamborghini is not slow off the mark. Hard on the brakes for Villeneuve chicane. So closed up there, he's going to have to keep this tidy coming out of here. He does. And he's on the back end of the Lamborghini now. Under a second between these two, and you can see he's going for it. Lamborghini goes for the defensive, but pulls back out and eventually makes it straightforward for Lantern to get past him. He's now setting his sight on the leader. He knows that that Lamborghini's looking at his mirrors, but he knows as long as he sticks to what he's doing, he'll be okay. It's a bit slow through those S-bends there, which is allowing the Lamborghini to come back at him here. This could be an overtaking opportunity for the Lamborghini, but Lantern stays ahead. He's now having to concentrate on what's behind him rather than what's in front of him, which is going to be advantageous. This is going to allow the lead Lamborghini just to drive off without too many issues. Kicking up dust there as he's using all the curb and all the track that he can. There you can see the gap between P1 and P2. So he's already creating a gap with third place, so he can now focus on the main task at hand, which is going to be overtaking this lead car. I'd say that at the moment the gap's almost equal between first, second and third. I'm really not seeing him creating enough of a chip away at the distance and the time for reining the Lamborghini in. He's only got a couple of laps left to go. He knows that the pressure's on him, and to a certain degree it wasn't his fault, the fact that he is in the position he is now. Nice and clean and tight round that turn. Now hammer down. You can see it looks like he's gaining distance on P1. He knows that he has to be consistent and he has to chip away at this time. These 5.28 litre engines being used and abused as much as possible. You can see again he's closing the gap. This may be something possible. He may still win this race. Short changes through the chicane, so he's not exiting on the limiter. If you watch from the graphic on the right hand side, you'll see that on the chicanes especially, he short shifts to second. The gap is closing. He may in the next couple of turns close this gap to enough that he is an opportunity to try and get past. And here we go, tucked up behind the wing just now, just try and get some of the slipstream. He now knows he's applying the pressure to P1. He knows that he's got enough time and distance behind him that he doesn't need to work. And look at this, he's right up behind the wing. And is that contact? It looked like there was some contact at the back there. I don't see much damage to either vehicle, but it certainly looked like there was some kind of damage, or certainly contact. The gap's opened up slightly again. This is out and out racing. This next corner may be the decider of who's going to win this race. Again, he's close up to the back, and he's lost it. He has spun off the track altogether. He's lost second place and the opportunity of winning this race. Lamborghini nips through for second place. That puts him back to third. Oh my word. A different turn, but the same problem. I wonder if his tyres are starting to fade off now. He's been driving that car hard to try and get back to P1. He's now going to try and have to hold on for P3. Not what he wanted, but we don't always get what we want. I don't think there's going to be enough distance and laps to get close to that second Lamborghini. He was fortunate again, second race in a row he's been fortunate. He's got enough time between him and the car behind that if he spun out the way he did, he's got time to recover and get back on the track. Again, he's closing the gap, but I don't think he's going to have enough time. He's going to have to keep the pressure on and hope maybe that the Lamborghini... He looks like he's went wide there. That looked very wide as he went into the chicane. Yep, and there's the checker flag, so... He has to accept P3 is the best that he can get out of this. A combination of bad pits and errors on his part has meant instead of being P1 where he started, he's ended up in P3. Anyway, if you've enjoyed the coverage, then thank you very much. Please feel free to hit the like button or the thumbs down button, leave a comment. And please feel free to subscribe. Any interaction at all helps me, helps support the channel. Until next time, take care of yourself, stay safe, goodbye.